Imagine waking up one morning, and the entire world is at war. Cities burning, nations collapsing, millions of lives changing overnight. This wasn't a movie. This wasn't fiction. This was World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. But here's the thing. Most of what we learn about World War II is just the surface. Dates, battles, leaders, the same repeated story. What if I told you there are hidden facts, strange decisions, and unbelievable moments that almost no one talks about? Facts that sound fake, but are 100% real. Today on Past of the Time, we're going beyond the textbooks. This is 10 mind-blowing facts about World War II you never learned in school. Stay with me, because some of these will genuinely shock you. Let's begin. Let's start with something that feels completely out of place in a war story. A soft drink. During World War II, Germany faced heavy trade restrictions. Imports were cut off. Supplies were limited. Businesses were struggling to survive. Now here's where it gets interesting. The German branch of Coca-Cola suddenly had a huge problem. They could no longer get the syrup needed to make Coca-Cola. So what did they do? Did they shut down? No. Instead, they got creative. They started experimenting with whatever ingredients they could find locally, things like leftover fruit pulp and food scraps. And from that, something unexpected was born. A brand new drink. They named it Fanta. Yes, the same Fanta people drink today around the world was actually invented in Nazi Germany during wartime shortages. Think about that for a second. A global popular beverage, created not in peace, but in one of the darkest periods of history. It's a reminder that even in times of destruction, innovation doesn't stop. Sometimes it adapts. Sometimes it survives in the most unusual ways. And honestly, it makes you wonder, how many everyday things around us today have origins we never question? Now let's move from soft drinks to something far more serious, a machine that helped change the course of the entire war. During World War II, communication was everything. Armies needed to send secret messages, plans, strategies, movements. Germany used a highly advanced encryption system called the Enigma machine. This device was so complex that its code seemed impossible to break. Every message looked like complete nonsense, and because of that, Germany believed their communication was completely secure. But they were wrong. Behind the scenes, in complete secrecy, a group of mathematicians and code breakers were working day and night. Their mission? Break the unbreakable code. Among them were brilliant minds who refused to give up. Even when the task seemed impossible, after years of effort, they built something revolutionary. A machine called Colossus. This wasn't just any machine. It was the world's first programmable digital computer. Let that sink in. One of the earliest computers in human history was built not for entertainment, not for business, but for war. Colossus could process massive amounts of data at incredible speed for its time. It helped decode German messages, revealing secret plans, troop movements, and strategies. Because of this, Allied forces were able to stay one step ahead. They could prepare for attacks, avoid traps, and make smarter decisions on the battlefield. Many historians believe that breaking these codes shortened the war by years and saved millions of lives. But here's the most surprising part. This achievement was kept secret for decades after the war. The people behind it didn't get recognition for a long time. Imagine changing the course of history, and no one even knows your name. It really makes you think. How many heroes exist, whose stories are still hidden? War is often seen as soldiers following orders, but sometimes true courage means doing the opposite. During the Vietnam War, which is often discussed alongside the legacy of World War II and its aftermath, something remarkable happened. An American helicopter pilot named Hugh Thompson Jr. saw something disturbing from above. Civilians, unarmed, being attacked. Instead of ignoring it, instead of just following orders, he made a decision that could have cost him everything. He landed his helicopter between soldiers and civilians. And then, he did something almost unthinkable. He told his own troops to stop. He even ordered his crew to defend the civilians if necessary. Think about that. In the middle of war, he chose humanity over obedience. He saved innocent lives that day. At first, he wasn't praised. In fact, he faced criticism and backlash. But years later, his actions were finally recognized as true bravery. This story reminds us of something powerful. Courage isn't always about fighting the enemy. Sometimes, it's about standing up for what's right. no matter the cost. Now, here's something that sounds almost unbelievable, but it actually happened. During World War II, different countries experimented with unusual military strategies. Some of them involved animals. One of the most shocking examples comes from the Soviet Union. They trained dogs to carry explosives. These dogs were taught to run under enemy tanks, where the explosives would detonate. It sounds extreme, and it was. It shows just how desperate and intense the war had become. But that's not the only strange idea. The United States once explored a plan involving bats. Yes, bats. The idea was to attach small incendiary devices to bats and release them over enemy cities. The bats would hide in buildings, and the devices would ignite later. The plan was tested, but eventually abandoned. Still, it reveals something important. In times of war, creativity can take very unexpected and sometimes disturbing directions. It's not always about weapons we imagine. Sometimes it's about ideas we would never expect. Now let's talk about a moment where something simple changed everything. Weather. One of the most important operations in World War II was the D-Day invasion. This was the day Allied forces launched a massive attack to liberate Western Europe. But here's what many people don't realize. The entire operation depended on weather conditions. Too stormy? The invasion could fail. Too clear? Enemy forces might detect them early. Commanders had only a very small window of opportunity. And it all came down to a weather forecast. A brief break in the storm gave them the chance they needed. They took the risk. And that decision changed the course of the war. Imagine that. One weather report, one decision, and history moves in a completely different direction. It reminds us that sometimes, even the smallest factors, can shape the biggest outcomes. So those were just a few of the hidden, surprising, and powerful facts about World War II. But here's the real question. How much of history do we actually know? Because behind every major event, there are stories that don't make it into textbooks. Stories of unexpected inventions, silent heroes, strange ideas, and decisions that changed everything. World War II wasn't just about battles and leaders. It was about people, choices, and moments that shape the world we live in today. So which fact surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know what caught your attention. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Past of the Time for more powerful and untold history stories. And remember, history isn't just something we study. It's something we're still discovering. I'll see you in the next video.